So let's talk about Tuesday's show. So first of all, as I mentioned, it is now the Showdown. No invasion is occurring anymore. This came after complaints were levied towards WWE about promoting a show called Invasion, which would be taking place on October the 7th, 2 years to the day when Hamas had its deadly attack on Israel that killed around 1,200 people. And WrestleVotes was the first to report of the name change. It was also mentioned in the Jewish Chronicle that the red V in the Invasion logo is, quote, it unintentionally resembles the downward facing red triangle used as a Hamas symbol. So on Tuesday, if you went to the WWE site, they started to remove all the mentions of Invasion, and I don't know when they came up with the name Showdown, because they were just using terms like the big event next week, or just like this vague language that was not Invasion. And then we had Santino Marella explain on TV Tuesday that, we've been working together for so long that this is not an invasion. It's a showdown. We're having a showdown, as the non-conquering TNA locker room all showed up in a vehicle to storm the venue, of which it's just a party. It's just a potluck dinner that we're having here at the Performance Center. So the Showdown will take place next Tuesday.
Yeah. About as generic of a name, and I would say as inoffensive of a name as I think they could have come up with, which I feel like was probably the intent. I wonder what they were considering as alternatives, and wondering what might potentially be
an NXT
offensive
versus TNA friendly.
I mean, that would be even less offensive, sure, but you never know. But yeah, I mean, on short notice, I suppose this was a fine substitute. Ultimately, I feel like they should have just called it NXT versus TNA. I think that might sound a bit more
That's actually
attractive.
a lot more appealing than the Showcase Showdown here between NXT and
Showdown,
TNA.
whatever.
Do you remember right after 9/11, WWE announced that, out of good taste, we are not going to be naming our final pay-per-view of the year Armageddon in light of the real world events. So we are going to come up with a new name, and we will now present Vengeance. Like, I don't know which one, like Armageddon too sensitive. Vengeance. That is what we are going to rename this pay-per-view. So that was it. And they dropped the war from Raw's War as well.
They did, yeah. It was a very strange time. I mean, we couldn't play Tom Petty on the radio. People were very sensitive about several things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was quite a time. There were like songs you could not play, or just or face the backlash. So
another pay-per-view.
You're right. There was the WWE has them all. They've just got a drop down menu of what to go to. Showdown was not one of them. They had to go deep for this one. So the card for next week, it will be Dark State against the Hardys, with winner take all, with the TNA and NXT tag titles on the line. Ethan Page will defend the NXT North American Championship against Mustafa Ali. So this was an interesting setup. Like, we have both our heels, but Mustafa Ali returned at the Performance Center, came out and cut this amazing promo where he explained that exactly 2 years ago today, from September 30th, he was scheduled to challenge for Ethan's North American title at No Mercy. But 9 days before that PLE, he was fired. And I never got my North American title match that I was supposed to get 2 years ago today. And that was the basis for setting this up. And I was like, what a loose end that they were able to tie up here of Mustafa Ali's elusive North American title match. And for one night, he will be a babyface next Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, much of this I sense like they're not necessarily playing to an audience that they're assuming is watching TNA weekly, and I think it's probably fine for the majority of people.
They're playing to an audience that remembers that Trick Williams had to replace Mustafa Ali 2 years ago at No Mercy.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I thought it was like an interesting way to set this one up using this this weird one where they had built him up for a title match at this show and they fired him before the pay-per-view, and it's just a very, very awkward where one hand did not know what the other was doing.
Pretty much this entire TNA roster can cut promos like that, talking about how disgruntled they feel after being let go for whatever reason.
I mean, Matt Cardona could have the mic next. So the Survivor Series matches, we have team captain Ricky Sainz, who has picked Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Miles Bourne, taking on Mike Santana with his team of Frankie Kazarian, Moose, and Leon Slater. And then the women's side, JC Jane has selected Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, and Lola Vice against Kalani Jordan. Kalani Jordan, who joined TNA a few days ago by winning their title as the outsider, but is now representing TNA, and then chose her partners, The Inspiration, which she mentioned, the new Knockouts Tag Champions, which unfortunately that is not airing until tomorrow night. So she kind of scooped her own new home that I would be very suspicious of this woman leading our team after she just gave away spoilers on national television. And so the Inspiration get into the ring. They have no belts on. So it was just a very awkward.
Again, I think they're assuming people aren't watching TNA anyway. So,
well, even if you are watching TNA, this would be news to you unless you're really reading ahead to spoilers from Edmonton on Saturday night, and then Mara Sade as well. So, I mean, she is Mara Sade. She is not Jakara Jackson for one night back here. So she is under.
She did joke about that, by partially saying my next person. I mean,
you're right. Yeah, she did go to say that. So I love that this TNA team are all like.
It's a fucking mess, Like one of the questions that I think has been posed is, can this invasion be any worse than the WCW WWE invasion? And obviously,
this TNA team was just ridiculous.
The men's team is perfectly fine. I think it's a perfectly good distillation of your current, past, present, and future.
It's all
members.
TNA people that you would associate with that. I really like the men's one was built up fine. And you got Evans and Evans and Slater on opposite sides before Bound for Glory. Yeah, this one was set up, but the women's match was just a mess.
It's a mess, but the TNA's women's division is a mess. I mean, their entire main event was gone.
Let's be honest, they not only lost Ash by elegance, but Masha Slamovich, you would assume, was going to be a big part of it. There's a very good chance that Masha leaves with that belt last week if Ash is stepping away, that Masha probably would have been like the team captain here. So
100%. Yeah.
I mean, this Knockouts division just they just lost its champion and challenger from last Friday's special.
So, I mean, you can understand why, I guess, a last minute decision was made to not just put the belt on Kalani Jordan, but to have her lead this NXT team. It sucks. I don't think it's certainly ideal. It just feels like it's some sort of backup, I don't really understand putting Jakara Jackson, Mara Sade into this. I mean,
they were teasing Jordan Grace being on this team. I really thought they were going to put her on the TNA team, which would have just been the cherry on top here.
I don't sense from what I've heard that she's of any sort of significant role in TNA at the moment to maybe justify one of these sort of top 4 spots.
I mean, very minimal. They've kind of paired her with the Hardys. She's got a spot, but she's not really in the title mix and such.
To me, the only reason why you would put her on one side is if you put Lash Legend on the other side, just to kind of have that interaction in the match itself. And she's not a part of this match. So I don't exactly understand why, other than the familiarity for the TNA NXT audience, I suppose.
Vic Joseph might have had the best line on this show when he is quizzing Booker and saying, just imagine that not in 2001, but if WCW faced WWF in 96 or 97, not that terrible one that you were part of, Booker, in 2001. Yeah. But yes, this women's match certainly brought me back to 2001 for some of this. But regardless, I do feel the show is going to do very well next week. They dedicated the entire episode to building up this showdown that will take place next
Much
week.
like the original Invasion pay-per-view, I mean, the build even to that one was not very good, but the name alone and the concept alone, I think, is enough to spike a lot of interest.
That pay-per-view, for all you want to say about the Invasion, did gangbuster numbers for that one Invasion show. So people love showdowns.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This month on the Post Wrestling Cafe, John and Wei go to the movies with a review of The Smashing Machine, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, based on the documentary around Mark Kerr. Plus, it's Rewind Away, covering the 2017 documentary Nobody Speak, Trials of the Free Press. Also coming your way is reviews of Bound for Glory, King of Pro Wrestling, weekly editions of Collision Course, Post Pro Res with Karen Peterson and WH Park, and the XL editions of Rewind to Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown, ad-free here at postwrestlingcafe.com.